So, these are city planners who built to last. I mean, downtown Turin has about a megaton of these surviving 400-year-old Baroque buildings. They're very hard to destroy. They're mostly brick, because brick absorbs cannon fire. But there's some marble, and even by military standards, these are some alarmingly stout urban structures. And some of them get abandoned for 100 years or more. They don't fall down. They don't rot. They don't collapse. They just silently endure there like Egyptian pyramids, and eventually people show up again, and they tend to just loft them out. So, now they're all over the place, and they're not aristocratic buildings, of course. They're museums, archives, hospitals, cultural centers, grocery stores, tourist attractions, futuristic planned palaces that just won't go away. I mean, they just don't wear out. That's why they're futuristic. It's just been there all the time. And I have one of my own now. So, in my bag here, I've got some postcards of my pet Turinese 375-year-old palace. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Stuart. Yes. That's our latest Turinese renewal project, the Phoenix Renewed. So we're trying to find a new tenant who will move into this palace and renovate this palace. And then this tenant needs to stay there for about 60 years. They're trying to find a guy with some staying power. And, it'll take about 150 grand to maintain the palace and its gardens, which are very extensive. It's like 4 stories high. I mean, it basically has about the same square cubic meterage as your odd building here. I mean, you're in a stuffed animal building of some kind. And this is a similar thing. I mean, it's got the volume of your thing here. It's just that it's Baroque and it's 17th century, and it's got like paintings and statuary and chandeliers and carpets. And that's our writer office. So we were done with our House of the Future project in our factory when we got this call from the local cultural foundation, who are called the Company of St. Paul, the Campagna di San Paolo, and they're a non-governmental enterprise in Turin, an NGO, and they're 500 years old. Like really, they've been around half a millennium. So these guys are running this 500-year-old charity, and they happen to be fans of ours. It turns out they really like to read science fiction. So they asked us, if we would leave our House of the Future and we would do a video to advertise one of their palaces to attract possible new tenants, because they manage this brick palace, which is up in the hills, and it's called the Delightful Vineyard of the Royal Madam. The Vigna de Madama Reale, and it's a place with a rather checkered history. So it turns out that this palace, or this villa, our new office, was built by and for a guy who was one of my favorite Turinese historical characters. I didn't realize it was actually his palace until we'd moved into the place. But I consider him a kind of ultimate Turinese historical character. I know a lot about him. He's a super interesting guy to me. I just never expected that he would become my landlord. So, we went into this Baroque palace, and they gave us the formal tour of the entire thing, top to bottom. So we went up to the attic, which is this amazing-looking crooked garret. We said, wow, what a fantastic office for creative writers. And actually, the entire building was a historical archive. That was its most recent use. Mostly it was stuffed full of 500 years of financial records. Centuries of them, just all over the place, financial banking records. But it was empty because the archivists had digitized the records, and they'd left the place. So it was record-free, and they are looking for a new tenant. So we volunteered. I mean, we moved in, and we don't reside in our palace, and we certainly can't afford it. There are no bedrooms in there. But when we're in Turin, we commute to our palace at 9 a.m., and we go up to the attic, we plug in the old computers, and we have at some creative writing in the palace, and then we leave promptly at 5 because they lock the whole place up electronically. And we go back to our actual apartment, which is in a completely different area of Turin. And we don't rent the palace. They don't pay us to be there. Just kind of a friendly understanding. We're just residents in the palace. I'm the visionary in residence at the Villa Abeg, and, we're writing novels about Turin. And except for one security guard, bored guy downstairs reading sci-fi novels, we are the only people in this huge ancient building. I mean, we're just like the modern ghosts in this 375-year-old structure, it's just us and that statuary and the priceless paintings and the chandeliers and the giant carpets and the many other relics and the huge weedy garden and the secret tunnels and the weird lake with the opera set on a little island and a greenhouse and big urns that are like shrouded in ivy. And it's not a house of the future, but it is our palace of the past. And when we're not around, we really kind of miss it. It's surprising how quickly you can get used to palatial surroundings. So, I know this sounds rather comic. He says the sci-fi writer is marooned inside the ancient palace. It's like an Italo Calvino story, right? It's oxymoronic. It's got a lot of trick reversal kind of stuff going on. But it is certainly the weirdest thing that ever happened to me in Turin, right? And it has some element of karmic retribution, right? So it's like you're a futurist, and you claim to be outside of time. You have some higher understanding of historic processes, and you even have the power to do weird things in empty factories, because you can convince people to help you. But that car factory is merely 100 years old. You should try some of your cheap futurist magic tricks with this other building from another pace layer entirely, 375 years old. UNESCO World Heritage Age.